Good morning, everyone. It's Tess, and today's tip, I think it was 225. And I'm going to talk about harvesting and about Thanksgiving. And this is going to kind of be two things brought together. And the first of it is I'm going to talk about day 32 of the challenge, because I've been going back and looking at notes from different days of the challenge from Doc V. And what I realized is that I think that there's some good pointers in there, and I'm going to kind of mix it with something that happened this morning. My mom and I walk in the morning, and I just got back, so my hair isn't as pretty as it was yesterday with Jill, but I'll work on that later. But when we walked, she actually shared something about harvesting, because I was talking about how all my tomatoes are coming in, and I'll post a picture. I pulled one bowl, but I think I have 3 more bowls to go pick, and I'm going to get some stuff ready today, because I don't want to tax the plants by leaving ripe stuff on it, but I need to move forward. Well, while we were walking today, my mom was talking about on the farm, because she grew up on a farm, and there are stories from my great-grandmother, and she told me a story, and I guess I didn't realize this, but my great-grandmother grew watermelons. One of my grandmothers grew strawberries and raspberries, but one of them grew watermelons, my great-grandmother down south. And my mom told me that I should watch. At this time of year, your plant will pick one tomato, one pepper, one watermelon, one squash. It will pick one that it's going to focus a lot of energy on, and it's going to make it really big, bigger than some of the other ones on the plant. And what's happening with that process is that your plant is actually filling it full and producing a lot of seeds for next year's crop. And my mom said that my great-grandmother, actually when she was growing her watermelon, she had this beautiful watermelon that she was nurturing and she was watching, and she was taking care of, because she knew it was going to be her seed watermelon for the next year. And she was taking care of it, and I guess she was away, and some of the cousins came one day and they annihilated her pumpkin. She was so mad, or her watermelon, because she was so mad that they took away her seed watermelon. Well, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that a plant will identify one piece of its fruit and pump it full of seeds so that you can use it for the next year. So that's kind of interesting. I'm going to watch and see if I can find that on any of my plants to use for next year. But it kind of made me think about, when I was looking through the notes for Doc V, he talked about we need to have Thanksgiving for what we already have, because that Thanksgiving opens the door for new things to us. And again, this is in looking back at day 32. And day 32, it was a Jim Rohn video. And for those who don't know, Jim Rohn is kind of like the original self-help guy, and he is actually the mentor to Tony Robbins. And if you start reading any of the self-help stuff, you'll see that it all kind of goes back to the same place. So it's a really interesting thing to look at and interesting thing to follow. And he kind of talked about that it's important for communication. It's important to recognize where you're already at. And it's important to get inspired with ideas so that you can move forward. Because he said, you always want to evaluate your journey. You always want to make tweaks. And you always want to recognize that you can always possibly be sincerely wrong. So identifying, adjusting, moving forward. I think before I had that talk with my mom this morning, well, hi, Upendra, good to see you this morning. I might have grabbed that biggest fruit that my plant was producing and thought that it was a great gift, never realizing it was the seed producer for the next year. And I guess that kind of made me think about like being at harvest. And this day 32 from Doc V, and again, this is probably March of last year, April 1st, 2020. And it was talking about how you just need to tip the scale by one little bit more than what you already know. So it's identifying where you're at, accepting the harvest that you currently have, being open for communication to learn more, and then just tipping the scale by identifying you can sincerely have something wrong, adjust, and you may tip yourself into something amazing going forward. And it's kind of exciting when you start to think that way. I have an excitement now, like I think I'm going to have like 3 bowls full or more than that of tomatoes that I'm going to have to get ready right now because my harvest is coming in. So I'm going to work on that today and get things ready. But in looking forward, I mean, even identifying, you know, is there a particular fruit that my plant is focusing on for the seeds for next year? I never thought of that. I didn't know it. And it kind of made me think about something. Doc V pushed me to do these videos last year. I started December 31st, 2020. And I've done it live almost every single day. But I haven't every day because I've had power outages and stuff like that. But he pushed me to do this, and then after I committed to do it for 30 days, he challenged me never to quit. So that's kind of what got it going. But today I was thinking about, in a way, he may have been the catalyst, but this has been something that has been planted in my mind for a long time. And the reason is my grandmother used to always push me to share family stories, share journeys, share. She just thought I should share. She just always wanted me to write a book or to tell the family stories or just to share. She was always the one pushing it. So when my mom shared my great grandma's story this morning about, you know, how to identify the piece of fruit or the piece of vegetable that your plant is identifying as the seeds for next year, I thought this is probably where grandma was coming from. She wanted me to find the stories, and I always found interest in them and to share them. And I just kind of laughed because I'm like, well, great grandma's story gets out, so grandma's very happy today because what she wanted is to share. And I think we even talked about something else, is that history repeats itself. So learning from the things that our previous generations had gives us tools to move forward. We do have to keep our communication open, like this Day 32 says, communication open. Be grateful for what we've harvested so far. Identify where we could actually be sincerely wrong and adjust to make it even better in the future. Learn from what we've gathered already from our current harvest. Open up to hear more and adjust moving forward. And I know my weight loss journey is really big about that, because every step in my journey, I recognize I have to stop and readjust and reevaluate. I can't, and I'm notorious for this, I can't make 100% of my changes all the same day. I've always wanted to be that person, but I can't make 100% change all at once. So I have to identify small steps I can make so that I can move forward. You know, like I'm going to start working on more savory smoothies. You know, during the summer, I enjoy my fruits, my strawberries, my raspberries, I do throw in pineapple sometimes, peaches. I love peaches. And I've had such fun with fresh peaches this past year because I was able to pick them up for reasonable prices. My peach tree didn't produce this year, but last year it tried to produce hundreds and it wasn't strong enough. So this year I think it decided to just regroup and move forward that way. But it is such when you open yourself up to learning new things, you open yourself up to a better life, and identifying that I'm never going to know it all, and identifying that accept my harvest where it is, open myself up so that I can identify where I can sincerely improve, and then pick up the pieces along the way, share the knowledge I've gained from my past, acquire the new knowledge, and make the future a better place to live. It was kind of exciting this morning. I don't know how many times we've talked about the family farm, and both my grandparents and my great-grandparents had a 140-acre farm in the South. My grandparents, in order to make a living, because they were like only the second generation here, used a lot of gardening and farming to move forward. But in all the years that I've heard the stories about what they did, I never recognized the idea of a piece of fruit on a plant being the cedar for the next year. And that was just something my mom shared this morning. The story about my great-grandma and the watermelon that she was protecting because she knew it was the seed plant for next year, and the cousins all annihilated it. It was a great story, but it also taught me a lesson that I didn't realize. So now as I'm picking my vegetables today and trying to get the harvest ready, I'm going to try to see if I can identify that in some of my plants. And then maybe that's going to be a new skill that I can use next year. Learn something from the past, identify, open communication, look a little bit on YouTube about if anybody's talking about that, and how can I do that to go forward, because what a great gift I can do if I can share something that my great-grandmother did and bring it into the future generations. My nephew's engaged, and his wife-to-be is got a degree in horticulture, and we always share knowledge and information, and she's giving me a lot of new knowledge, and now I'm mixing it with the old knowledge and hoping to make a brighter future. And I want that for you guys too. Make the best possible life you can by acknowledging the harvest that you received from your past, accepting and being open for things that maybe you simply don't know, and create the most amazing future you ever dreamed of. There are gifts all around you if you open yourself up to them. There are beautiful people all around you if you open yourself up to them. We've had too much people being unhappy and sad lately. Let's open up and harvest beautiful stories, harvest beautiful knowledge, and harvest a beautiful future. I'm going to be hopeful that things are going to be better as each day passes. Yes, we're going to probably go through a little bit of a struggle, in the near future, but that doesn't mean we can't make the down the road the most amazing thing ever. So recognize your harvest, what you've learned at different places in your journey. Open up communication for things you may simply have wrong to adjust and create the most amazing future you ever dreamed of. Thank you for being here for me. I appreciate you guys all so much. I better go get some water in. I just got back and my mom is impressing me. We did almost 3 miles this morning already, and she's getting her day started, and I'm going to actually do some harvesting. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know, and take what you know, make it better, and create an amazing future. Have a beautiful day.